Once upon a time, I made some ranking videos on Mario Kart tracks. They're not good. So today I decided to remake those videos, not because they're necessarily bad, they're abysmal, but because recently I have been watching lots of Mario Kart lately, so like, why not? I'm not gonna cherry pick which game I wanna do, like certain YouTubers among this community. We're just gonna start with the first game, Super Mario Kart. Hot diggity dog, this game is dog shit. Whenever I see people, discuss Mario Kart and Super Mario Kart comes up, I'm not sure if everyone feels this way, but to me, the conversations always feel fake, almost as if nobody bothered to play this game. Sure, there are other people out there that point a lot of problems, although in my playthrough, I discover even more flaws. If I'm being honest, most track ranking videos that I have seen, I heavily disagree with. I mean, it makes sense, it's just opinions at the end of the day, but I feel like sometimes it's just not right. It's as if the people didn't spend enough time playing the game to actually, rank those tracks properly. Also, I mean, this is just an issue with every game, but I feel like some people just don't explain themselves properly, or at all, are ghost busting some chuds, are too generous or too harsh with certain rankings. Basically, it's kind of a mess. And while I enjoy certain parts of, this community, there's also just stuff that, they're not the best. And I know what you're thinking. Here I am, almighty, shitting on people online. So to prove that I'm legit, in a way, let's just say that I live streamed playing this game for, 6 hours. Even then, I still haven't managed to unlock the special cup, so I spent yet another hour the next day doing that. I played Super Mario Kart for 7 hours. Do not recommend at all. I have quite the hot takes, I must say, when I inspect my list, so like, just if you have any predictions whatsoever, throw them out, because they're gonna be wrong. So without further ado, let's get started. When thinking about the tracks in these games, I don't want to just, talk about the layout, the visuals, the music, because at the end of the day, these tracks are in a video game that has items galore, and also every game plays differently, especially this game. And I think it's pretty important to acknowledge those things. So, taking all that into consideration, the worst track in this game is Bowser Castle 3. This track has an amazing layout, I must say. The music is a banger, and also feels like a final boss type of music. The track certainly looks nice as well. So why is it in last place? Well, this game really doesn't do this track justice. If you bump into walls, you're dead. If you get bumped by other racers, you're dead. If you go too fast, you're dead. If you exist, you're dead. I have never been this exasperated playing this game that I almost feel like going insane. Slowly but surely. Alright, let's take it slowly. I like the fact that on lap 1, the thwomps are not active, meaning that on your first go around, you get to see where they are before they do anything, which is cool. What's less cool is that this set of thwomps can actually become walls that you can't avoid for no reason, and in a game where the CPUs are busted, having a wall placed in front of me for simply because I was there at the wrong time when the CPU phased through them is certainly a choice. The fact that I have to use the feather to jump over these lumps of rocks that refuse to reset to their initial positioning when I get to them is pretty stupid. They're also sloppily placed pretty much everywhere. Another big issue is that if you get bumped by a racer during this segment, then this happens. This is not even the first time it happened to me. Sometimes there's these moments where you gain lots of speed by simply just driving. I don't know why the game does that, but well, unfortunately, because of that, you can actually skip the second jump at the beginning of the track and fall into lava, which is really unfair if you ask me. If you don't take this turn perfectly, you bump into this wall. Like, bruh. You know what's even crazier? The fact that most of the items in this game are useless in this track. Sure, you can make the same argument for most tracks in this game, but it's pretty egregious here. I'm pretty sure you get the feather here just to jump over thwomps. The banana is just useless in general. Green shells sometimes are reliable. Red shells just kill themselves unless I'm right behind someone. The star is kinda useless in this track because there's so many walls. Like, you're telling me the only items that I can use are the mushroom, the feather, and sometimes the green shell? Really? For this game, I feel like the track is too tight on its turns, which, yeah, I know makes sense. It's difficulty building up, and it is the Star Cup at the end of the day, but Star Cup overall was pretty easy up until this point. The whiplash from the sudden jump difficulty is pretty blatant. I hate the fact that I have to jump over this thing to get to the speed boost. Same thing for these items here. Oh yeah, did you know you can jump over the wall and just melt away? You can also just get stuck or something. I don't know. I have no idea what happened here. I was trying to unstuck myself, I guess, but again, listen. listen, I want to reiterate, I think this track's layout is good, and we have seen evidence of it working in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it has a clutter field with too many small obstacles breaking up the flow. Like, oh my god, this is so terrible! I get it, I'm not the best at this game, I can admit that, but it's not like I didn't try to learn the game and get better. But tracks like these just remind me that I haven't really gotten better. In fact, I haven't learned anything, which is the worst crime a game can do. Number 19, Mario Kart 3. Before I talk about this track in this game, just a side note, but why do they keep remaking this track? It's not that good. Anyways, I feel like it's the same situation in Bowser Castle 3, but the CPUs just make this track feel like ass to play, since you're constantly trying to take tight turns to pass them, since apparently these mofos can simply turn without slipping and without losing speed. But while Bowser Castle 3 is pretty obnoxiously bad to play, this is just whatever. There's one giant ass curve in the middle of the track that doesn't function at all in this game because of how slippery your car can be, even if you aren't driving on ice. Besides that, my biggest problem is when you try to take the speed boost but then you get pushed to the side by the AI last second. Like, come the fuck on, man, it's not even a light bump, that's a pretty big one. Also, is it just me or did the CPU at times during this track are just way too fast? Any attempts on trying to get far away from them is met with failure. Only thing of note here isn't even about the track itself, it just so happened that this track is the track where it happened. I beat Luigi by like 1 point and got first place overall. I have been playing this track trying to get a better score than Luigi, and this was honestly the best outcome I've ever seen. It also didn't help that I was playing the specific track for like an hour already, I think. Number 18, Bowser Castle 2. This is the literal textbook definition of how not to design a race course. Do I need to spell out the elephant in the room? The middle section of this track just sucks. It's not that it's difficult to do. In fact, the Super Mario Kart can allow you to pull one of these and it's only possible in this, but doing that for 5 laps straight seems a bit redonkulous. I wouldn't call this great gameplay or upping the ante or some shit. I mean, the entire game is already hard as my balls, so just designing this mess is just silly to me. Also, I hate any jumpy jump thingies in this game because you're at the risk of being bumped by another player and just gets into the shadow round. This track has a dead end where it just says stop at the end of the road. Like, that's kind of funny, and it's also a place where to use the feather for a shortcut. Unfortunately, I don't think it's possible to do this in 100cc, so I opted for this other shortcut, which is like miles better in my opinion. Besides that, this track is like the middle child of a family where it's just not a remarkable thing. Number 17, Donut Plains 3. Who the hell thought making an obligatory jump was a good idea? Jumping over stuff is not a required mechanic, it's never thought anywhere else. This is your introduction to it, and if you don't figure out what to do, then you're boned. This is way too harsh of a punishment for something that you haven't done anywhere else in the game. Does it make Donut Plains 3 stand out? Absolutely, but for the wrong reasons. I unironically saw shit like Donut Plains 3 is the good gatekeeper to the special cop. Like, bitch, please, the entire game already gatekeeps fun from you. What a shit argument. Besides that, I would describe this track as a lesser Donut Plains 2. It encourages you to take tighter turns, which can be fun sometimes. I love using the star on this track since the second half of it can be so easily glossed over. Otherwise, it's pretty one note for the beginning of track of the special cup. And man, it doesn't really get any better after this. I mean, the layout kind of feels like it exists to reward aggression. You're the victim and the bots are the aggressors. Number 16, Vanilla Lake 1. Vanilla Lake 1 is pretty obnoxious to play due to the ice blocks that are prominent over the track. While you can dodge all of these ice blocks, I don't really like the fact that if you get caught into one, then you slow down pretty considerably. Especially from what I have seen, the bots don't seem to be affected by them. Like, yeah, they hit the blocks, but then they quickly recover and go at full max speed. Like, how is that fair? The ice physics also means that, drifting feels less responsive than it already is. Overall, I find this track to be extremely bland and it amounts to nothing more but a lame square. Number 15, Mario Kart 4. Alright, so the curve in the middle of the track is so much more manageable than before. Yes, unfortunately for those who aren't educated, even though there isn't anyone who doesn't know this, but this is basically Mario Kart 3, except I guess it's another take of it. Damn, this track never left this game and already got a remake? Although, again, same issue with 3. Why are the CPUs so fast in this track? This track is pretty uninspired. It's like an easier version of Mario Kart 3. I don't mind it, but it's also not like formidable, I suppose. Mario Kart 4 is pretty forgettable, all things considered, but I wouldn't be opposed to a remake of it. Number 14 goes Valley 2. I don't really have any particular things to say about this track. It's meh. I guess it's a sudden jump in difficulty for Flower Cup, but I blame the bots. I don't like the speed boost and the item towards the end of the track. I would take that in any other game besides this one. I don't trust this game, okay? Overall, Ghost Valley 2, it's just boring. Number 13, Koopa Beach 1. Okay, whose idea was it to put the item boxes towards the end of the track? It's such a stupid thing to do since most of the races spent having no items until the end of the track. The only item you get towards the beginning is on this lonesome island and you only get one item. You know, considering that items are important, or, you know, should have some importance, this really is not a good move to pull. Besides that, Koopa Beach 1 is a pretty open track that's, you know, really fun to try to take tight turns in it, but overall it's just a circle that kinda sucks. Number 12, Rainbow Road. Controversial placement aside, if I have to leave my bias out of this, believe me, I love everything about this track so much. Then Rainbow Road is a pretty good representation of everything wrong with Super Mario Kart. I'm not 100% sure of this, but from what I've heard, people complain about this track being too difficult back in the day. What? Huh? So you're telling me the rest of the game was piss easy, huh? Getting pushed by other racers is so annoying in this track because that's something out of your control. And now you have to wait 5 quadrillion years until you can race again. The thwomps here seem pretty well placed until the last portion of the track. I feel like just one thwomp placed right in the middle of these small roads would have done the trick. It gives you more to work with while also being challenging to dodge, not just an inch of road. Also, I don't get why this specific path has 2 item boxes but the other one doesn't. Like, that just feels like favoritism. And it is in a way, because that right path is like the best path to take from what I've seen. Timing just works in your favor much better compared to the left path. At this point, I have to ask, what's the point of this split road then? What's the point of these jump pads if there's nothing here? Also, the coins are so hard to spot, it feels random every time I collect the coins in this track. The foundation is already there and it can work. The issue is that Super Mario Kart just plays like ass, so these tracks that in theory should be good aren't. A shame really, because this features the best Mario Kart song to ever exist. I don't think it will ever be top. Number 11, Ghost Valley 1. A nice and simple Ghost theme track. Perhaps a bit too simple, but I don't really mind that much since I enjoy tracks like this more in this game purely because it makes the game enjoyable. Plus it has a cool little feather shortcut that can definitely save you a lot of time. But really there are other tracks in this game that while they're easy, they do more with what they have compared to this one. Number 10, Koopa Beach 2. This is Koopa Beach 1 but done so much better. This is the best track to use the star item on. It is so goddamn satisfying. One could say that at times the track might have some strange quirks, for example the empty space right here. Compared to 1, there's much more interesting things going on, especially in terms of hazards. While the environmental hazards in this track are not hard to steer clear, they are pretty compelling when combined with bouncy cheap cheap. Looks pretty good in terms of beach maps, and while we're at it, I want to mention the song. Koopa Beach song is literally vibes maxing, and honestly, respect. It's a pretty good and relaxing song. It is still kinda lame ass circle that has more going on compared to its predecessor. Also, what a fallout for Special Cup compared to Donut Plains 3 in terms of, you know, difficulty. Like, it is night and day. Number 9, Bowser Castle 1. My favorite variant out of all 3. It's pretty wide, the thwomps are perfectly placed, and overall it is pretty engaging track. I like the double speed boost, the jumps are fun. This turn right here is tricky, but it is done pretty well. My problem, and this is more of a question if anything, but why on this corridor the walls are jutting on the outside? Like, what's the point? You're never going to drive there unless you get trapped in there somehow. Number 8, Mario Kart 1. The first track to ever be conceived in Mario Kart. It is the perfect tutorial track that teaches you the fundamental elements of Super Mario Kart. It's also a nice enough track that where it can become a playground for trying things for the first time. The way the hazards are used is pretty ingenious. It gives you the possibility for a big shortcut by using a mushroom or a star. In terms of tutorial tracks, I think this one is solid. On its own, it is pretty underwhelming, but this is the first track of the franchise, so it can't be too crazy, and for what it's worth, I think they did a phenomenal job with it. Number 7, Mario Kart 2. A neat evolution from Mario Kart 1. This one features a more challenging layout compared to 1, and it also has a big jump. I'm pretty sure this is the only big jump in the game, so yeah, it's exciting, it stands out, gameplay is pretty good, they have done a good job with this one. Number 6, Donut Plains 2. Donut Plains 2 is a nice enough evolution of 1. It introduces Monty Moles, if I remember right, and the way the track uses them is pretty interesting. There's this big ass pond that if you use a mushroom the right way, it can become a shortcut, which is cool. The Monty Moles are positioned in a way where it isn't difficult to dodge them. The even more interesting ones are near the start of the track. Track layout is also pretty engaging, although I'm not a big fan of how many big curves there are. Number 5, Donut Plains 1. I think I prefer Donut Plains 1 over 2. While this version doesn't have Monty Moles, it does have plenty of turns that are fun to drift through. It's also a bit more free, there isn't lots of stuff that can mess you up. It's just your driving skills, which I like it. Couple that with a banger song that is full of joy and whimsy, and you got a solid Mushroom Cup track. Number 4, Ghost Valley 3. This is how you make a difficult track in this game! Finally! Ghost Valley 3 might be the best track that leans on the harder side of Super Mario Kart, except it's actually good. Not necessarily tight turns, no manual hopping bullshit, no wonky ass layout. This one had a vision and it stick with it. Features a pretty ballsy feather shortcut, which I did not have the courage to perform. Lots of jump pads, speed boost, jump pad combo, which can make you fly for a second. That's fun. The layout is honestly perfect. It is pretty hard, but not too hard or stupid hard or something. Most mistakes are of my own accord because I wanted to fly. This reminds me, I had this one scuff moment where I went for the speed boost and jump pad, and I think Mario bumped into me frame perfect to the point that the speed boost didn't even properly activate, so I jumped into the abyss like a moron. Number 3, Choco Island 2. If I ignore all the times the bots bullied me while playing this track, I think this is pretty good. It has a narrow road at the beginning that slowly opens up. Then you drive on this ocean of shit. Seriously, why is there a giant ass mud stain? A couple of jumps and that's it. I like the fact that the track slowly gets more open and slowly closes off towards the end. I think that's fun. The shortcut at the beginning is interesting. It doesn't have much, but what it does have makes for a solid racing course. Number 2, Choco Island 1. But ultimately, I think Choco Island 1 is better. It's so much more open compared to 2, and I think gameplay wise, this one is so much more fun. I mean, Choco Island 1 has a pretty big shortcut towards the end that's pretty fun to do if you have a mushroom or star. The track layout is pretty twisty at times, but not too much, and it's still pretty big, which I really like. Alright, so we have gone through every track in this game, besides one. Yes, my favorite track in Super Mario Kart is Vanilla Lake 2. Okay, so let it be known that I enjoy ice themed tracks, and I think Vanilla Lake 2 does this flawlessly. The difference between 1 and 2 is pretty staggering, all things considered. I love all the cracks in the ice, which allows you to jump over those if you want to take the turns as tightly as possible. It is actually pretty fun. The ice physics aren't that much of a nuisance. While there are plenty of ice blocks, they're not as intrusive as they were in Vanilla Lake 1. Honestly, I think this track is the perfect one in this game. I've enjoyed this so much. I will say this. Why is this track the penultimate track in the game? It's not that hard as far as I'm concerned, so why? And with that, the ranking is over. Here's a tier list for your perusal. Yes, no S tier, not even A tier tracks. As much as I enjoyed the last few tracks that I've talked about, they're not amazingly great to be honest, and also not that memorable. It also doesn't help that there's like 8 track themes in this game, including Rainbow Road, nor the fact that they are sequels of each other. But either way, we are done with Super Mario Kart. I have my fun at times and my grievances other times. After playing this game again for this video, did my stance change? No. It's still pretty bad. Next up we have Mario Kart 64, which is another bad game, but at least it has less tracks than Super Mario Kart, so hopefully the next entry won't take too long, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a nice day!